Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoterica, my once a year treat where I go over all of the things we've done in the channel in the last year on the anniversary of me starting it, talk about all the successes, all the failures, and talk about what I'm going to be doing in the next year. Because somehow over 7 years have gone by since I uploaded the first video to this channel, and while the channel today is completely different than it was back in the day in all the best ways possible in my opinion, it has been absolutely insane for me to think that I was basically in my early 30s when I started this channel, and now somehow I am 40. If we're getting far involved though, do me a huge favor down below, hit like and subscribe because it is the cake day after all. And if you feel like you want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. But I'm going to talk about what we've done this year, both personally as well as in the channel, and kind of where we're going in the future. But if I had to pick one thing in 2025 I was more proud about than anything else, and trust me, there's a lot to talk about, it would be getting Cooper's 9 made playable and preserved for everyone for all time. This was a situation where I had this hard drive dump, as a few others did, on their hard drives for the longest time, but without the security key, all the files were completely unable to be decrypted, and you couldn't actually play the game. And considering this thing maybe had like 4 cabinets out in the wild in the world, it was getting very close to becoming a completely extinct game. Now, through a concerted effort of a lot of people that I helped coordinate, a security dongle was found in Europe, sent around via the mail, dumped, and then we got this thing both executing as well as being controllable all at once. And you know me, you know the channel, if you watch it, I love doing this sort of stuff. We've done Castlevania the Arcade, we've done Akuma Mortis Immortal, and a lot of other games that I can't remember right now because they have been numerous, and I don't know if in the next year I'm going to be able to find something as big as Cooper's 9, but you know I'm always out there looking for these lost arcade games to be able to acquire and share with everyone. Because a lot of the reason I started this channel was to preserve video games I've loved and talk about some really rare things. That's always something I'm going to be doing. Now, everyone asks me when the next time I'm going to be able to do this is, and the reality is, I have absolutely no clue. These things take a lot of time in the background, and not everything actually works out that I'm working on. But I do have some other irons in the fire, as it were, to try to get some more lost arcade games to you and preserve for all time, because there are still some titles out there that I'd absolutely love to talk about on the channel. But Cooper's 9 was one of the 2 games I'd been hunting for over a decade, and now I am down to exactly one game that I want for my personal collection to be able to say I've completed an air quotes full set of rare arcade games I've never been able to find. You leave me a comment down below and you tell me if there was a way to snap your fingers and make one lost arcade game show up that you can't play anymore, which one would it be? Because I really am curious about that, because what I love might not always be what you love, but there are a lot of options out there and maybe I might know where it is. And I'm working on something with somebody right now actually. But I'll let you guess what that is in the comments. And if you're wondering and haven't played Akuma Mortis Immortal yet, I can't recommend this game enough. We released this one maybe like 18 months or so ago. It was one of those games I've been dying to play it basically since I knew it existed in like the early 2010s or so. And now finally, just like something like Cooper's 9, you can sit down, you can play it, you can enjoy it, and it is the perfect type of game for October. So don't worry, I'm never going to stop dumping games when I find them. It just takes a minute to actually find stuff. And speaking of finding things, this is the I/O board as well as a security dongle for Crazy Streets Thrill Drive 4. And if you know me and you know the channel, you know I love this franchise and I have the original 3 games on their original arcade boards. But to date, we have never found a hard drive dump of Crazy Streets Thrill Drive 4, and we do know that it exists out in the wild. It was location tested and released in extremely limited numbers in Europe. So I purchased this and acquired it that way when and if a hard drive is ever found, then it's not found by me. If anyone wants to be able to play this game, they're going to need to come through me for help, and that will require a dump of the game. That way we can share it and make it playable for everyone, because it is just a PC executable and PC in a box. And as a side note, I apologize, my voice is a little off today. It is crazy bad allergies and mold in Chicago, and that's something that I deal with in the channel basically all year round. I talk so much on this microphone that I have to have so much tea in my house. Now, speaking of houses, maybe some of you guys followed along, but my wife and I, Mrs. Esoterica, have been house hunting for like the last 2 months, and this view you see right here was the house that we put the highest bid on, and we're absolutely sure and convinced we were going to get it accepted. We did everything we needed to do. We were pre-approved, made a great offer, went through all of the different hoops to basically be able to move to a bigger space. Because when I say my studio and office at home is absolutely bursting at the seams with all the hardware I use, both to make this channel as well as to do my regular work, I 100% mean it. I am literally stacking things up in the corner right now. But unfortunately, someone went all Zex crazy and Hulk strong on us us and outbid us by over $50,000 and promised to cover the appraisal gap as well. This was going to be the new Video Game Esoterica office, but I guess it's just going to have to be for somebody else. But I mean, honestly, that is the house buying process, and we do consider ourselves lucky for being able to even afford one. Speaking of things that are lucky, this is something I got to do this year, and I'm going to make you watch it. And unfortunately, the Cubs didn't win the next day when they went up to Milwaukee and lost the divisional series. But I just decided this was going to be the year that if there were playoff games in Chicago, I was going to them. So I went to all the wildcard games as well as all the divisional series games in Chicago when the Cubs played. And it was some of the most fun I've had because I decided this year, screw the price, I'm not going to worry about the money so much. I'm just going to try to do something that builds some memories and I'll remember forever. And that really is kind of the fun thing, just using some MAME sports footage here to get into the next subject. I am actually a real person that does real things. You're just hear me talk about video games on the channel all the time, and a lot of you guys make some assumptions about what my life must be like, and sometimes they're really accurate and sometimes they're really far away, which is hilarious, but I actually do things in the background. Now, speaking of things that have changed a little bit in 2025, I'm definitely doing a lot more emulation videos. I get that I'm Video Game Esoterica and I love to talk about rare and obscure stuff, but I can't do that every single day if I want to build an audience. But I can talk about rare and obscure stuff like Hyper Neo Geo 64 in the guise of MAME update videos. These sort of update videos are kind of the way that I Trojan horse some of the rare and obscure stuff I love right in front of people's eyes, and it's one of those things. It's definitely been working for the channel. My goal was to have 60,000 subscribers by the time you watch this video, and I came up a couple thousand short, but the channel is still growing, and trust me, I have absolutely no plans on ending Video Game Esoterica anytime soon because it has become a big part of my life. I know this will sound a little bit hokey, but everyone that comments regularly, you become a part of my daily existence, and because in real life I have exactly one friend that even plays video games, and not the type of video games I play, I kind of rely on you to actually talk about the stuff that it is that interests me, because obviously I have a very big love for arcade games, emulation like RPCS3 and TechnoParrot here, and some really rare stuff. But in my real life, I've got plenty of friends, but only one that actually plays video games, so I don't really have anyone to actually converse with this stuff about. My wife will watch me play a game now and then, but if it isn't something we're playing together, she just kind of lets me do whatever it is I would like in my spare time. So I really just depend on you guys to kind of entertain me, the same way that I hope I entertain you here and there with some of these videos. Now, something in the last year that I did not expect to find whatsoever, and I didn't even know it existed, this is Battle Trist on the 3DO M2. But I've owned a copy of this game too, technically, for many years now. But suddenly on eBay, somebody sent me a link and said, does this look weird or familiar to you? I don't think I've ever seen it before. And coming to find out, it is an Asian-specific version of Battle Trist with a completely different build and a completely different color disc. Konami love to color code their things, so I picked this thing up cheap, to be entirely honest with you. It is basically hand redone by Konami, so it kind of exists in the space of a prototype, something that was a region test that just didn't really make it out into the market. And of course, like everything else, I took the disc out, popped it into my computer, and made sure I made a copy for everyone if they want to play around with it. But the first time I talked about Battle Trist on the channel was 2018. It is now 2025, and it's one of those things. 7 years is a long time, and you don't have to say sorry in the comments below. Life happens. I started this channel right after my mother-in-law passed away of colon cancer because I was working on some stuff in Vermont and decided maybe I'll just make some videos about it. And unfortunately, this July my mother passed away from terminal brain cancer. This entire video is just basically bookended by people dying of cancer, but the thing is, life does happen, and I do want you to remember that there is a real human being behind the channel. The same way when you guys tell me you're having bad days or something's going on in the comments, I do try to chat with you as much as I can because I do actually care what happens. But outside of that kind of maudlin sort of sentiment, it was so much fun to be able to find a new version of a 3DO M2 game and dump it and share it for everyone. Is there anything else out there in the wild that I'll ever be able to find for the M2 and share? I have no idea. Obviously the big one is still the 3DO M2 version of D2, but we'll just have to wait and see if I can find that one day because right now I have absolutely zero leads. Now, obviously, Mr. FPGA has played a big part in the channel in like the last 4 years since 2020, and I'm still keeping this thing going strong in 2026 because we have new Mr. FPGA hardware on the market, stuff like the Multi-System 2, which is out now, stuff like the Superstation 1 that should hopefully be shipping soon, and of course we have some other boards out there that could potentially become successor systems to Mr. FPGA, but I will say at least in 2025 I've noticed the stats drop a little bit on some Mr. videos, but if you're not aware, there is this big scary thing called the algorithm, and that completely changed like late summer. And that's kind of the interesting thing about a channel like mine or anybody else's. We are at the whim of what an AI and an algorithm decide that it thinks you want to watch. And it's one of those things. I've already purchased a DE25 Nano just in case it becomes a Mr. 2, because I want to make sure day one I'm there for the same Mr. videos that you come to expect from Video Game Esoterica. But definitely, if you enjoyed this stuff, make sure you hit that thumbs up. It really isn't just for me to basically feel better about myself. It actually does delineate a little bit of what the algorithm does in the background, and it's going to be really fun to be able to review the Superstation 1 when it comes in, because we are getting a whole new generation of Mr. FPGA hardware that's way more console based in 2025, which I really think is going to open up the Mr. FPGA market to a lot more users. And of course, we don't actually have it yet, but hopefully soon we will have at least a test core for 3DO. If you watch the channel, you know full well it is my favorite 3D console of all time of its generation. I'm not saying it's the best, I'm just saying I love it the most for how quirky and weird it is. And knowing the SRG 320 is working on a 3DO core alongside the Sega Saturn core definitely made me happy in 2025. So hopefully by the time you see this update video in 2026, the core's been out, it's finalized, and everyone's enjoying some 3DO on their Mr. FPGAs. And for the last fun thing that we did in 2025 before I get to the end of the video, this is Gashan Refill. About 2 years ago, I was able to release Gashan, a Konami arcade game, to everyone so they could play it and enjoy it for free with some friends. And now I'm able to do the same exact thing for Gashan Refill, which was the sequel to this game. I think I did this one maybe about 3-4 months ago, and the reality of the situation is, when I have to go back and think what happened in the last year that I would love to talk about in the channel anniversary update video, I forget what year some things actually happened. I thought this was maybe last year, but it was only 4 months ago, and something that I thought happened this year actually happened about 18 months ago, so it does get hard to keep track. And one thing that I was very happy about, even though it ended right at the tail end of last year's anniversary video, is we got a remaster of Killing Time from Night Dive Studios, and I am in the credits as well as hidden in the game somewhere, because I did some very small, can't understate how small it was, work on this project, just giving them some assets and other items for preservation, both in the actual kind of extra content on the disc and some assets for the game as well. This has been long considered my favorite game of all time, and it is my first video game credit and will probably be my last one, so trust me, if you're going to get your name in one video game and it's going to be your first credit, getting it in your favorite game of all time definitely is a good thing. But that's what happened in the last year in Video Game Esoterica, and we have a brand new year coming up going into year 8, so I'll say right now, my goal would be 70,000 subscribers by the time we get to this video next year, and I do kind of reassess every single year if I want to continue doing the channel based upon the view growth, the sub growth, and everything else like that, and it was a green light this year even if I just shorted my goal. But I expect a lot of fun on Video Game Esoterica in 2026, and if there's anything you're not seeing on the channel you would like to see, leave me that comment down below. But we're done, it's been a hell of a year, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.